Hello, I'm Carol Elaine Steele. I'd like you to know a little bit about my life. I was born November 26, 1932, Nephi, Utah, to the two most wonderful LDS parents. They had so much love, patience, warmth and kindness, and because of them I had a great childhood. We all knew we were loved right from the start. I have always felt so blessed and loved to have such great and loving parents. I had a 2-year-old sister named Donna and we were best friends. I was baptized on January 26, 1933, in Nephi. My father Hiram Delwin Steele was born in 1903, in Goshen, Utah. My mother Dorothea Marie D. Olson was born in 1908, in Nephi. When they married in 1929, my mother was 5 years younger than my father. I had 6 brothers and sisters, Donna, Robert, Keith, Gerald, Kathleen, and Dennis. When I was 16 years old I met the most handsome guy I had ever seen. We dated for about a year. His name is Ned Downey. One day after primary, I was a teacher, it was when we had primary on Tuesdays. As I left the church house, Willie, one of Ned's friends, was parked in front, so I ran over and asked, "Where's Ned?" He told me there had been a real bad accident in the mine when Ned was working and he was in the hospital in Provo. Willie said he would take me to see him. He was totally blind and lost most of his hearing. He was only 17 years old. It was heartbreaking. He was in the hospital for 31 days. He had a lot of time to think about what he would do. He made up his mind he wasn't going to change. He did the same things he had done before. We went to shows, even though he could not see them or hear them. We went swimming, dancing, and even skating, even though I was a real bad skater and would run him into walls. He was so brave. He gave me an engagement ring at Maroney Dance Hall. We were engaged for 6 months and we were married on Valentine's Day. I married the love of my life, Ned Owen Downey, on February 14, 1951, at age 18 in my Grandma Olson's house in Nephi. That day was unforgettable. He was born in 1931, in Benjamin, Utah. He was 19 years old when we married, 1 year older than me. I lived in Juab County, Utah, in 1935 and in 1940. We moved to Salt Lake, then to Benjamin, and then to Payson. We ended up having 9 precious children, 4 girls and 5 boys. Our 8th child was born with Down syndrome. At first I thought, why the Heavenly Father let this happen to our baby? I never had any idea what a wonderful blessing he would be to all of our family. He lived for 36 years and every day he has blessed our family with love, happiness, and taught so much. He's the glue that has held our family together. He's our angel. Dennis, Jeffrey, Carol, Joy, Rose, Christina, Lisa, Kelly, Dan, and Rusty. Families were large back then. All our children were born in Utah, just like me. Ned and I had 39 lovely grandchildren. We had Joe D., Sterling and Jessica, then we got Tommy and Ryan. From our son Dennis. From our son Jeffrey, we had DeEtte, Jared and Eric. From our daughter Carol Joy, we had Jake and Jaden. From our daughter Rose, we had Jennifer, Nick, Brittany, and Anthony. From our daughter Christina, we had Crystal, Clint, Lacey, and Sunny. From our daughter Lisa, we had Lindy, Austin, Yannicka, Mason, Talon, Elisa, and Carly. We had Blake, Bryson, Bridger and Brianne from our son Kelly. And last but not least, we had Paige, Danielle, Jaden, Ruger, Cody, Hadley, Savannah, Sydney, Drex, and Calvin, from our son Rusty. We also have 34 great-grandchildren and 1 great-great-grandchild. They are each the love of my life. Words could never tell you how much happiness and joy each one has brought into my life. It was so much fun watching them grow up. When they were raised, there was another batch of little ones and on down until my great-grandson. I have always had a group of little ones to entertain and keep me happy. There never is a dull moment. I have been so blessed. Every single day is just like a Christmas to me. I have an awesome family and they are so good to me. I am so grateful for the gospel in my life and that I am sealed to my wonderful husband and my precious children. My prayer would be that all my family will live the gospel and will be sealed together for time and all eternity. I was told that when I was just a tiny baby. I got pneumonia and almost died. Because of many prayers in my behalf, I got better. It was 2 weeks before Christmas. Mama sat in Dr. Beckstead's office. The doctor handed her a 6-pound 9-ounce baby girl and said, "I'm afraid she has pneumonia." Mama took me home. As she rocked me in her arms, she pushed back the black hair from my forehead and kissed my little round face and prayed, "Please don't take this precious little baby away. You just sent her 3 weeks ago." After many sleepless nights and a lot of tender loving care, Mama's prayers were answered. I was as good as new again. When I was born, I had a lot of dark hair, and a cute little round face. But as I grew, my hair turned blonde and grew quite long. I was tiny and I learned to walk at 9 months old. I wore size 00 shoes and I still have them. They are so tiny. When I was only 2 years old, we went to the fish hatchery in Springville for an outing. We had a really good time at the fish hatchery. We ran around and looked at the fish and had a picnic. We really had a good time and we were going out to the car. Everybody said that I hardly ever just walked, I always ran or skipped everywhere I went. I took off a running and run right out in front of a car. This was right on the main highway. Dad ran right out in front of the car right with me and grabbed me. Mama said that the car was just inches away from us. She said that she thought both of us were going to be killed. It was a miracle that we both weren't. What a courageous father! That is just one example of how much my dad loved me and how good he was to me. We had a real fun childhood. Some of the fun things we did was to go sit in Grandpa Olson's garden and eat peas and tomatoes. We had a lot of water fights. This was all the older kids, Grandma and Grandpa and all the aunts and uncles. Everybody around there would get in on the water fights. We had great water fights. We used the field to ditch and we'd get buckets, cans, or bowls. Anything that we could get our hands on to put water in. We throw water all over each other. The whole family got into it. That was a lot of fun when we would have water fights. We had those quite often. I remember one time Mama and Ruby were tying a quilt and they had all the grown-ups tying the quilt. I was too little and I didn't know how. Every time I got in there to help, they wouldn't let me. They let Donna help because she was old enough, she knew how to tie. I didn't know how and it made me feel really bad. I went in and got in the crib and cried and cried. I remember my mom coming in saying, "Don't cry." Then she gave me a nickel and said, "Tomorrow you can go and get you a black cow." I thought that was one of the greatest things that came out was a black cow. It was a caramel candy on a stick, dipped in chocolate. I loved these, so that was wonderful, and I was all better after she gave me a hug and told me that I could go buy a black cow the next day. I'm glad I could share part of my life story with you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I love you all so very much and can't wait until we are together again.